This is the life. Today we smile, next day we cry.
The question isn't, can you handle the situation? The question is, can you handle your mind? Can you manage the thoughts and the emotions that are trying to poison your progress? Forget managing the situation. Manage your mind.
The most discouraging times were when you're putting effort and you're not seeing progress or results. This can psychologically mess with you to not believe that enough effort is going to produce progress, and for the rest of your life you're just going to be like, well, even if I give my best, nothing's going to happen. Even if I love this person, nothing's going to happen. I'm like, okay, first week no results, second week no results, third week no results, fourth week no results, fifth week a little bit of results, sixth week a little bit of results, seventh week a little bit of results. It's not really working, let me drop it. 90 days, that's only 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10, 11, 12, 13th week, bam! Oh, this works.
You're much better than you think you are, and you need to remember that most of the doubt and most of the things that you struggle with were installed in you by people around you who have already given up on what their life could have been, and they want you to do so as well because it makes them feel more comfortable about their mediocre existence. You don't really have limits. You have what you have been told your limits are, and you have chosen to believe that those are your limits. And that's why you have this problem going for the things you really want and instead going for the things that are more realistic.
And this one is going to hurt. In the race to greatness, when you're chasing it, there is no motivation. What? There is no motivation? But everybody told me I need to get motivated. Motivated people chase their dreams. Elevated people catch their dreams.
No more gray decisions in your life. It either serves the man or the woman you want to become, the business you want, the father you want to be, the wife you want to be, the mom you want to be, the leader you want to be, the business you want to have. Your actions either serve and take you towards that version of yourself, or those actions take you away from that. If you get rid of, well, maybe kinda, surfing on my phone a little bit, or doing this a little bit, or binging on Netflix a little bit, or hanging out with those negative people a little bit. No. You want to go to the next level? You know what it's like to generate the kind of money, impact, and purpose that you know you can and want to? Then there's no gray anymore.
Listen, bro, I don't have motivation, I have discipline. Motivation, it's temporary. Today you have motivation, tomorrow wake up early, you don't have motivation. When I wake up early morning in training, I never have motivation. I have only discipline. I don't have motivation, I today not go to training. No, bro, motivation is good, discipline is bad.
Believe in yourself. There's nothing wrong with having confidence. There's nothing wrong with being delusional. There's nothing wrong with seeing things that people don't see. Have the consistency to make something that's real to you, real life. So believe in yourself, stay consistent, and it'll happen.
You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how can you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. What should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that?
How many of you, within the course of your lifetime, have the capacity to be peaceful? The capacity to be peaceful. If you have the capacity to be peaceful, then you are already moving in the right direction. Because we as human beings naturally and innately have the capacity to be peaceful. Because when we are at peace with ourselves, we are experiencing our enlightened consciousness, yes? So this is how transformation works. We have to let go of all the golden carrots that have been dangled in front of us, of success, of accumulation, of being more, because more isn't necessarily more. Do you understand that?
Pain plus reflection equals progress. If you take away reflection out of that equation, all you're left with is pain. Right? If pain plus reflection equals progress and you take away reflection, all you're left with is pain, there's no progress. And for a lot of us, when we're experiencing pain, when we're experiencing stress, when we're experiencing pressure, when we're experiencing challenges, we forget to reflect. And when you forget to reflect, you lose the opportunity for real progress. We forget to reflect because we get distracted. We try to avoid pain, or we try to numb pain. But when we reflect on pain, we have the opportunity to have progress in our lives.
Treat yourself like someone you love. Treat yourself like someone you love. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me is the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough.
What's my next step? And so I'd go immediately into action. And you know, I find that when we ask the universe these questions, a lot of clarity emerges. You have to ask the question first, but if you ask life, what's my next step to get to that future, which looks impossible from this perspective, you will start to intuitively know what that next step is.
So the true source of influence is your service to something higher. Without that, you're living a life of manipulation, trying to get something to be successful. However, when you begin to surrender your life to something higher, an attribute of the presence, even your definition of success changes.
This too shall pass. Whatever you're feeling, whether you're feeling great or whether you're feeling terribly, it's going to pass. So helping people understand that that will pass, that there will be something beautiful again waiting for them.
We have to redefine success to be peace. Because if you are not at peace, you are not successful. Do you get that? If pain is driving your need to produce, if you are not successful, you're running away from something.
So it's not about who you are. It's about who you want to become and the price you're willing to pay to get there. Become that person. Change the world. Change yourselves.
They are the most significant questions that a person can ask. Why am I here? What's the difference between love and between fear? How can I know? How can I align myself with the highest part of myself that I can possibly imagine or think of? These are questions that we've been asking ourselves since we were a species. Now we're multisensory, and we can begin to experience the things that we used to have to believe on faith. Now we can begin to see for ourselves who is responsible for our lives. But the final step in creating authentic power is to give your power to a higher power.
You can have what you want and need, assuming you're taking care of yourself. You're starting out with the proper attitude towards yourself, which is that you're worthy of care and respect, and there's something to you that's valuable that at least could be developed. You need to give yourself that amount of credit, like you would with anyone that you might be willing to attempt to care for and love. You can have what you want, but you have to specify it.
And so you're asked to write a few sentences, not to be obsessive about it, but to sketch it out. Like, okay, it's 3 to 5 years down the road, and you have what you need and want to make your life what it needs to be, so that you can be a good person in the face of the suffering of life. What does it look like? Consider for a moment the multitude of your faults and the direction those faults could pull you in. And everyone knows that. Everyone has a sense of how they would fall apart. It's 3 to 5 years down the road and you've let that part of your character dominate. What particular corner of hell is it that you're now occupying? And so now you have something to aim at, you have a purpose, right? And that's motivating. Like, our positive emotion is linked to our pursuit of valuable goals. That's how our brains are set up. And so you need that positive goal, and you need something to run away from. And so you can run away from the worst in you. You can escape from the worst in you, and you can move towards the best in you.
I felt like we're drowning in information and we're starving for motivation. So like new ideas about, top 10 listicles about how to live better or be more productive and all that stuff. I think there's a sort of false promise there. Because like that's not the weak link. The weak link is, do I have enough drive in myself to do these things? And if we can unlock intrinsic motivation, we can unlock that I can't help but go do this because it fulfills me, and we can connect that to long-term development, then I think we got something much more potent and potentially transformative than post-it notes or affirmations.
In order to make it stick, go brick by brick. One of the things that's interesting about having big dreams and big goals is that oftentimes the fact that the goals and the dreams that we have are so big, it makes them really, really difficult to achieve because you spend so much time thinking about how big the idea or the dream is that you become paralyzed in the moment around taking action. How do you build a house? By laying a foundation, brick by brick by brick. You go one small brick at a time, and it's exactly the same thing for your goals, by the way. So if you think about where you're at in this moment, and you think about the path between where I'm at and where you want to get to is the same. It is a brick path, and it is comprised of a ton of little bricks that come together to take me forward. And so when you think about a goal or you think about a dream as a million little bricks that come together and lay a path forward, that's the way visually you can break down your goals.
The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually you act on it, whether it be good or bad. There's haters everywhere in this world. We have to be able to live amongst distractions and be undistracted. Stay in your own mind. Don't let them own yours. Our whole life is set up in the path of least resistance. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to feel discomfort. So the whole time, we're living our lives in a very comfortable area. There's no growth in that.
I stopped comparing myself to other people. So I stopped comparing what I didn't have to what other people had. I left that off the table. And then I started to reward myself for improving over what I was yesterday. And that's profound change because it means that you actually get your reward structure transformed. And that's a big deal because that's your source of positive emotion. and enthusiasm, encouragement, all of that. So now you can start to encourage yourself for genuine improvement. And it's also pragmatically extremely intelligent, because incremental improvement repeated is virtually unstoppable.
Once you become obsessed with something, obsessed, it's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you gotta be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do, the best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great. Why are you so daggone crazy? Because I'm trying to be the best I can to give you the best that I am. And it takes being obsessed to where people think you're crazy. Become obsessed with being great. It changes everything.
The best gift you give yourself is to find something that motivates you. Find something that motivates you. Turn that motivation into drive. Once you're driven, you can then push yourself very far. But the biggest gift you can give somebody is that they see your drive. They see your passion to become better. And then you can pass along that gift that you have given yourself onto someone else to be better. That's the best gift you can give somebody.
You can take your surroundings beyond order and move towards beauty, and that's unbelievably useful, because while beauty calls people to their higher being, I would say, and to make friends with beauty is to introduce yourself very carefully to one of the mysteries of life that make it worth living.
I tell you, in order to have something different, you are going to have to do something different. In order to have something more, you have to do something you haven't done yet. And when you look up, and you don't have to have a magnificent change over 12 months, have a small change over 30 days, and then a small change over 30 days, your breakthrough will come in needlepoint moves. And you'll look up in 5 years and not recognize your life.
So when I say you've got to want it, you've got to want it bad enough to fight through that period where you don't know if you're going to pull it off. You're afraid that you're going to end up being a total loser. And the people that go on to do just extraordinary things with their lives, they're people that want this success so badly that they're willing to face the fact that they might prove themselves to be a loser, which of course is an illusion and isn't actually how it plays out. But they needed this huge desire to help them overcome the fear that they might be as big of a loser as they think they are, and that everyone else is going to finally see what a loser they are. So you have to build the desire.
The greatest achievers who've ever walked among us know that they all came from the same intelligence and recognize and help people to find that within themselves. The number one quality and characteristic of these people who live at the apex, who are way beyond just taking care of their biological needs, who are way beyond their social needs, who are way beyond needing to be loved and so on. These are people who came here with a purpose. These are people who have a dharma. These are people who won't let anyone else determine what it is they're going to be. The number one quality of these people is that they are independent of the good opinion of other people. They listen to an inner voice.
Not weakness, vulnerability. That's a whole different thing. To admit to the fact that you're vulnerable, that's a form of courage. That's not a form of weakness. But that leads you to take whatever steps are necessary to deal with that properly. It isn't some facade that you're invulnerable. No one is invulnerable by any stretch of the imagination. And to stand up and face that is the best route that you have.
The people that win in life don't necessarily have more vision than you. See, it's not a lack of vision always that means that you are going to lose. It's a lack of a type of vision, which is depth perception. You think you're further away from the outcome, and so you pace yourself like it, and you jog all the time throughout your life. That means consequently, they get started earlier and they finish later.
Because the second characteristic of self-actualizing people is that they are detached from outcome. They don't do what they do because of what result is going to come to them. What motivates self-actualizing people is, this is my calling. Everything is a teaching. The question isn't whether the teachers are there. The question is, how willing are you to pay attention? How willing are you to listen to that inner voice that no one else can hear? Do what I do because of the passion I feel. I am not here for anything external to myself. I am here because I have a passion within me.
You have to have the truth to have a starting point.
If you want to know what makes people happy, write down progress equals happiness. Think about it. You can achieve everything in the world and still go, is this all there is? You can achieve something and be excited, but for how long? The only way you stay happy and excited is to keep growing.
It's like life is hard. It's a crucifixion. That's right. And so it's no wonder they think that. It's like, okay, fine. First of all, we're going to take it seriously. Yeah, you're suffering and adrift, and you have your reasons. Despite that, there's more to you than you think. And you know that too.
Once you come face to face with who you are, you have a starting point. All right, I'm not real smart. I have no courage. I have no self-esteem. I have no nothing. Nothing. That's my starting point. Now we can move from there. But if I tell myself I'm strong, I have courage, I'm smart, and all these are lies, you continuously push that starting point backwards. So that starting point is the truth.
Progress is everything. If you're making progress on your body, progress in your mind, progress in your emotion, you're gonna feel happy. When you get there, you feel excited, but again, for how long? A year? No. Because we're not made to just sit and, be successful. We're made to grow. We're made to, and after we grow, we have something to give.
We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us stronger. We were never satisfied, never finished. Rest at the end, not in the middle. And I took that to heart.
You envisioned something, you got clear about it, and then you started thinking about all the reasons why you wanted it.
Your being is limited and flawed and fragile, this immense potential, but constrained in this tiny little living space. But the fact that you have limitations means that the plot of your life is the overcoming of those limitations, and that if you didn't have limitations, well, there wouldn't be a plot, and maybe there would be no life. And so that's part of the reason why perhaps you have to accept the fact that you're flawed and insufficient, and live with it and consider it a precondition for being.
Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers, your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life death. You're alone, but there's 24 hours in a day where you're alone in this brain. And your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways. And it wants to control you, pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain, and your brain controls you, you got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over.
Courage is also physical. Again, courage does not mean you're not afraid. Courage means you're afraid, but you do it anyway.